Hello everyone and welcome to this special edition of Cassidy's coverage of these vlogs. The Olympics and Paralympics stuff special. I'm here with my huge box of Olympics and Paralympics stuff. As you might have guessed, I collected quite a bit of free stuff from the Vancouver 2010 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games. So in this vlog, I am going to show you all the cool stuff I got. First, I'll start off with the things I got from the Olympics. Now, I already showed you a few of the things I got, like my uniform, my hat, autographed by the Washington State Olympians, and my Vancouver 2010 tote bag. But there's still a lot of stuff I haven't shown you yet. You might be wondering if I got any of the famous, hard-to-get red mittens. Don't worry, I got some. Here are my Olympics red mittens. By the end of the games, I had worn them so many days in a row that there's a fleece lining inside. And by the end of the games, the fleece came unattached. Can you see this? The threads are literally coming out of the mitten. Because it was really cold at the Whistler Sliding Center, so I wore them every day. I was trying to write in them, and they really took a beating. So luckily, on my last day at the Whistler Sliding Center, some of the supervisors gave away some free stuff. And I, luckily, won another pair of the wonderful Olympic red mittens. And I haven't worn them yet, the tag's still on there, as you can see, because they're so beautiful and clean and not falling apart on the inside that I don't want to ruin them by wearing them. As a volunteer, on my first day of work, I got this thing on the back of my accreditation called a shift gift card. And every third shift, you get a shift gift. And my first shift gift, I actually don't have it with me right now, was a Quatchy doll. Another one of my shift gifts was this lovely Whistler, Canada hat. I've been wearing it a lot when I've been snowboarding since the games have been over. Another one of my shift gifts was a Team 2010 pin. And my last shift gift of the games was this beautiful, clearly very expensive, Vancouver 2010 Olympics watch. Now, if you can see, the whole watch plate is about as big as my entire wrist, so I haven't really worn it around yet much. However, it is pretty cool to say that I have an Olympics watch. Now, that volunteer pin was only one of the many pins that I collected during the Vancouver 2010 Olympic Games. So I will show you. Here is my Olympics accreditation, my picture on it, and all of my pins. My favorite pin I bought at the opening ceremony dress rehearsal. It says opening ceremony on it, and watch this, okay? This is really cool. It lights up. Push this little button on the back, and it lights. So at the opening ceremony dress rehearsal, it was dark, and I kept lighting it off. I also have a Canadian flag pin, which I traded one of my volunteer pins with this little girl. She was probably about 7. She was really cute and really excited to trade pins with a volunteer. She saw me walk up in my uniform with my pins and my lanyard around my neck, and she said, excuse me, do you trade pins? And I said, yeah. And she said, oh, do you want to trade pins? And actually the one I gave her was another one I got as a volunteer. The 2010 Legacies Now. This one I got at the Olympics torch relay. This pin is a black ribbon, and all of the athletes wore black tape on their helmets, and a lot of the volunteers and other people wore black ribbons right after Nodar Kumaritashvili's death, the Georgian men's luge who died right before the games began. So that's to symbolize it. This is my press operations pin. And only people who are in press operations, so Olympic News Service, press assistants, press attaches, everything like that. We all got one of these pins. This pin my brother got for me. I don't know where he got it, but it's a little toque with pom-pom on top, and it's from McDonald's. This one I traded with this man who had so many pins. Oh my goodness. He had been to a few different Olympics, so he had pins from all of them. And it's the USA pin. It's gold, and it's got the Olympic rings on it. I've got a Whistler Winter Pride pin, which I think is pretty cool. Gay Whistler. There was a Pride House at Whistler during the Olympics and the Paralympics. This one is a Getty Images pin, and this one's a Switzerland pin. I originally got a pin with the Norway flag on it, but one of my coworkers really loved Norway, so he begged me, can I please trade you? I have a Switzerland pin. This one says, sup, like, yo, sup. Because all of the French-speaking volunteers had pins on their lanyards that said bonjour. So in my office, my supervisor started it. She's from Australian, so she made one on her lanyard that said good day, like good day, mate. And then I made one that said sup. The Canadians in the office had one that said A. We were all very cultural. This pin has a little Quachi on it, playing hockey. When we were at the Olympics women's downhill races, my brother was with me, and he talked to one of the people from the U.S. snowboarding team. And they gave him this really cool U.S. snowboarding pin. It's one of the favorite ones I have. My brother told me I had to give it back to him after the Olympics, but shh, don't tell him. I'll just keep it on my lanyard. He will never know. The next one is an Australian flag pin. My supervisor for the Olympics was Australian, so as a little goodbye gift at the end, when we're all sad, we could at least look at our Australian flag pin on our lanyard and be happy and glad that we met some Australians. And that we learned how to do an Australian accent. And this one was a free one that I got with my uniform. Cold Effects has a hockey player on there. And this last one is another one of my favorites. It's the Lake Placid Games pin, and it's really cool. I got it from the U.S. press attaché who worked at the Whistler Sliding Center. So that is all my pins from the Olympic Games. I have more from the Paralympics. Don't worry, I'll show you them later.